Hello folks, Cranky Old Cuber here. After I magnetized my MF3RS and got the kinks worked out with that, I decided I was going to do the same thing to my GTS too. Since I felt like I freehanded the magnets a bit too much on the MF3RS, I conferred with Cranky Dave and he alerted me to SpeedCubeShop.com's magnetizing guide, and with that info and DM Cubing's tutorial, I had a pretty good game plan. First though, I had to disassemble the cube, which was pretty easy. I used my trusty Swiss Army knife's small blade to carefully pry the pieces apart. I only ended up applying one magnet semi-freehand to an edge, with the aid of another magnet on the outside. Instead of placing the glue and then the magnet, I used a thin superglue and trusted capillary action to distribute the glue fairly evenly. I let this glue set a bit. Then, using that edge as a guide, I placed a corner magnet using the same technique of setting the magnet in place, applying the glue, and letting capillary action pull it into the space between the magnet and the cubie. At this point, we let the glue set up a bit. After that, it was pretty tedious, but pretty uniform. I used that edge and that corner as guides for more edges and corners, and so on, until they were all done. At this point, we need to let the glue cure for a while. For the glue I used, a few hours seems sufficient, but I understand that if you use the thicker glue, overnight will probably work better. Now we just put it all back together. I liked the way the cube was lubricated from the factory, so I initially put it back together without any additional lube, figuring I could correct it later if necessary. I used another cube as a model because it occurred to me that I didn't necessarily know how to put this one back together correctly, and I still got a corner or two wrong even with the model, but that was easily fixed. Later on, after I recorded all of this video, I put some DNM37 into this cube, and I thought this cube was great to begin with. This thing is phenomenal now. The only thing stopping this cube from turning now is the magnets. There is almost no friction other than the magnets now. This cube is amazing. And with that, we have a MoYu WeiLong GTS 2M for the low price of a GTS 2, 48 magnets, some super glue, and some time. So how does my homemade magnetized MoYu WeiLong GTS V2 stand up to the other magnetized cubes that I've gotten from the cubicle? Well, in summary, pretty good. I've compared it versus the cubicle WeiLong GTS V1M, that I bought from them. The GTS-M magnets are stronger. The GTS-M has good stability, but it's a little harder to turn, and the lube is a bit gummy. And so it was my favorite cube until I got a hold of this cube. The GTS-M is a very smooth cube, but it doesn't turn as fast. The GTS-2M that I made, the magnets are not as strong, but it aligns perfectly. So, I mean, it's easy for me if I've been using another cube to overturn this guy because it turns so easily. The N35 magnets are perfect. And the interesting thing about this cube is I'm still running it on factory lube. So I disassembled it, I put magnets in it, and I didn't do anything to lube it when I put it back together because it was perfect when I took it apart, and it's still perfect now. And so I've been solving today on a little stronger cube, and so it's gotten to where I really have to be careful not to overturn with this cube, but once I warm up, it's just almost effortless to turn this thing. It's an amazing cube. So what about the Gans Air 356 UM, the cubicle edition? Well, to me, the magnets are about the same. I've got the purple springs in it right now, and it feels really nice. It's the Gan Air UM is a really good cube. The difference that I see is that the UM is a little bit less stable. It's a bit floppy and it's a little bit less controllable, but it's still really good. I could try different springs in it. I don't see that it's going to make a lot of difference though, because I've played around with the Gan Air Ultimate Edition or Master or whatever it was that I ended up getting. And I've put all the various different springs in it, and I don't know, I like the white springs in my non-magnetic one, and I haven't seen any reason to change out the purple springs in the other one, and I don't think they're going to do much difference, but I might try it. But for now, the GTS-2M is so good that I don't even think I'm going to bother, because this is my main right now, and I'll tell you why later. I have data. So yeah, the turning effortless on the GTS-2M. And what it does is it lets me go faster than I can go with the Air UM and still have control. I don't feel like I'm getting out of control with it. Okay. And again, it's just like, I don't know. It's just so easy to turn that I almost forget how easy to turn it is. And sometimes, like if I haven't touched it in a while and I've been playing with the GTS-M or the MF3RS or something like that, and I come back to this one, I almost have to remember, dude, you don't have to turn so fast, or you don't have to turn so hard, right? It doesn't take that much. Like I'll overturn all day like this if I'm not careful. But once I get used to it again, it's really, really effortless, and it takes, I don't know, it feels easier to do everything. So, all right, what about the Valk 3M? So I have a Valk 3M, and interestingly, it's the one that I take with me on runs, or if I'm going for a walk and I want to cube while I walk, because it's stickerless. It feels pretty nice. It feels okay. The Valk 3M is not my favorite because when I got it, the first thing I noticed was the magnets are really strong in it, and also the lube is super gummy. It takes a lot of solves for me, or, just doing various perms or whatever, lots of turning to get it warmed up. And once it's warmed up, it works pretty well. It's still not super fast. It's definitely not my favorite cube. I was kind of disappointed. I was hoping the Valk with its extra stability would be great. And I think they messed up, and just the magnets they used were too strong. I may try putting N35s or even maybe something a little weaker even than that in a Valk and see how that works out. But again, I don't have a lot of reason to do so, because this is a perfect, the GTS-2M feels like the perfect cube. I cannot think of how you would make a better cube. So let's run some numbers here, okay? I did some averages of 5 recently with my other 3 magnetic cubes. When I did the budget cube comparison, I just wanted to see how those budget cubes compared to my, premium cubes. And so with the GTS-M, the version 1, I got a 52.63 second average of 5. with a best solve of 46.05. That's an okay average. I'm guessing I was off a little bit. I don't know. Then I did an average of 5 with the GAN with a 49.04 second average of 5, which is not bad, and a best solve of 40.21. And so, yeah, that's pretty good. And then I did another one with the Valk 3M. Interestingly, I got a better average with the Valk than I did with the GTS-M, which makes me sad because I thought I really liked the GTS-M. And of course, it's just an average of 5. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt. But that average was 49.29 seconds, and my best solve with it was 45.52 seconds. The other day, I did an average of 12 with my GTS-2M, the one I made. And I did an average of 12. It ended up being 48.36 seconds, and my best solve was 36.83. Now, the best part about this was on the bus, on the way home from work, with my iPhone balanced precariously on my leg and not being particularly fast at stopping the timer because of the way the iPhone was balanced. So, yeah, I've got a new main. This is my new main. As much as I've enjoyed the magnetic cubes I purchased from the Cubicle, I think I like making my own magnetic cubes even more. And when you start with as good a cube as the WeiLong GTS version 2, I don't think you can go wrong. Like, this is an awesome cube. This is to me, this has the best stuff about the Valk 3 and the Yan 3 all combined up into one cube. Highly recommend this. Definitely do it yourself. It doesn't take that long. It's kind of fun. And when you're done, you get a thing that you kind of made yourself, which is pretty cool. And many thanks to DM Cubing for his tutorials on how to magnetize a cube. I used those a bunch. So, in my opinion, the GTS2 magnetized and with some DNM 37 in it, just 2 drops, is the pinnacle of what you can get for a 3x3 today. I don't even know how we're going to improve on this. I know they will, but I don't know how they're going to do it. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I will see you at the next video. Cheers.